a comparative exploration of myth, history, and cultural transmission. The birth stories of great leaders often carry mythological undertones, framing their lives as divinely ordained and extraordinary. Two of the most strikingly similar accounts in ancient Near Eastern tradition are the stories of Moses from the Hebrew Bible and Sargon of Akkad, the Mesopotamian king who established one of the world's earliest empires, ca. 2334–2279 BCE. While Moses' account is preserved in the Book of Exodus and central to Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions, Sargon's legend survives through cuneiform inscriptions and later Mesopotamian retellings. The parallels between these narratives raise questions about cultural memory, literary borrowing, and the symbolic power of the exposed child motif. The birth narrative of Moses in the biblical account, Exodus chapter 2 verses 1–10, Moses is born at a time of oppression, when Pharaoh decrees the killing of Hebrew male infants. His mother hides him for 3 months, then places him in a basket coated with pitch and sets it afloat on the Nile River. Pharaoh's daughter discovers the baby, has compassion, and raises him as her own, granting Moses both Hebrew origins and Egyptian royal upbringing. The story emphasizes divine providence. Moses is chosen by God to liberate Israel from slavery. The birth narrative of Sargon of Akkad, according to the Sargon legend, a Neo-Assyrian text, circa 7th century BCE, but reflecting earlier traditions, Sargon claims he was born of a humble, possibly priestly mother, while his father is unknown. To conceal him, his mother places him in a reed basket sealed with bitumen and sets it afloat on the Euphrates River. He is rescued by a water drawer, Aki, who raises him as a gardener. Through divine favor, Sargon eventually rises to power and becomes king, founding the Akkadian Empire. Parallels between the two stories. Exposed child in a basket, both Moses and Sargon are placed in a basket sealed with pitch, bitumen and set adrift in a river. Rescue by a stranger, each child is discovered and raised by someone outside their biological family, Moses by Pharaoh's daughter, Sargon by a water drawer. Humble beginnings, great destiny, both rise from obscurity to lead people and reshape history. Divine providence, their survival and later greatness are attributed to divine will, legitimizing their authority. Key differences: cultural context. Moses' story is embedded in a narrative of deliverance and covenant with God, central to Israelite identity. Sargon's account legitimizes royal power in Mesopotamia. Rescuer's status. Moses is raised in the royal household, while Sargon is raised by a commoner before ascending to kingship. Time gap. Sargon predates Moses by more than a millennium, suggesting the motif circulated widely in the Near East before entering Hebrew tradition. Theological meaning. For Moses, survival signifies God's plan to save Israel. For Sargon, it underscores his right to rule despite questionable origins. The exposed child motif in mythology. Scholars recognize a recurring motif of the abandoned infant across cultures, symbolizing the hero's survival against all odds. The separation from ordinary life, marking him as extraordinary. A test of fate or divine intervention. Similar motifs appear in the legends of Romulus and Remus, Rome's founders, Cyrus the Great, Persia, and even in Greek mythology with Oedipus. The repetition suggests a literary archetype rather than direct borrowing, though cultural diffusion likely played a role. Historical and literary debates. Some scholars argue that the Moses story borrowed elements from Mesopotamian traditions, adapted to a Hebrew theological framework. Others see both as examples of a shared mythological archetype in the ancient Near East, with independent developments. The comparison illustrates how ancient societies used storytelling to justify leadership, whether divine liberation, Moses, or imperial conquest, Sargon. The stories of Moses' birth and Sargon of Akkad exemplify the enduring narrative pattern of the exposed child destined for greatness. While differing in theology and purpose, both narratives convey the idea that extraordinary leaders emerge from humble or perilous beginnings through divine or fated intervention. Their parallels remind us of the interconnectedness of ancient Near Eastern cultures and the power of myth in shaping identity, authority, and destiny.